Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by The Plain Truth, Sleeping Warrior, Ranty Flat Earth, Jose and Arwin. Good to have you all.
Good to be here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. So let's kick off with housekeeping. Any signs of curvature, gentlemen?
Good afternoon.
No. I'm not finding any. I'm looking. I am looking, though. I'm trying to find it, and I can't.
Yes, we'll get onto that a bit later on, Ranty, if it's good by you. Anybody else? Any signs of curvature?
Sure.
Nope, none.
Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, of course?
Nope, none.
I'm going to come on to that later as well if someone can remind me. It's also the title of the show. Any proof of gravity?
No.
Proof of gravity? Nope. No.
Any proof of, or evidence of, pressurized system? So let's get it right. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
Ow! No, stop.
No.
Not outside of the region of science fiction.
No? Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope.
Besides the debunking video we saw yesterday, was it, right?
Models are pseudoscience.
No.
Joking aside, models are pseudoscience.
Yeah, I agree on that.
Reality is reality.
Actually, there is evidence of curvature, of axial rotation. I'm gonna have to present that. I've been waiting for this because basically I've got someone that loves to hate me. I know there's not just one, there's like numerous ones, but this particular guy, I've just realised that he's done numerous videos about me, and I saw one of his most recent videos, which wasn't about me, but took me to his channel, and he's actually presenting what he claims is a camera somewhere deep in the middle of space of Earth doing its axial rotation and its orbit of the sun. And it's just gloriously nonsense.
I love it.
I'm gonna have to show it. So give me a sec while I rack this up because this is just fantastic.
No worries. Well, while you're doing that, I'll rattle through the rest of the housekeeping if you don't mind. So, any proof of the distance to the sun?
No.
None.
Right up.
Still waiting for No Simon Dan to give us no science and no evidence but rhetoric. So until that happens, nil.
No
Okay,
proof
last
of
but not
distance,
least.
no proof of position.
Correct.
No. Not relative.
Position.
Actual proof of the distance. 93 million miles. Any proof of that?
There's actual proof of the angular location.
Yeah, agreed.
That's it.
Any proof of the distance to the sun?
Big fat no.
Right, last but not least. Any proof of the presupposition itself? Any evidence of R, gentlemen?
No.
Nope.
But you missed one off. You've missed one.
Oh yeah, what did I miss?
Bill Miller.
Any
proof
signs of Bill Miller?
No.
Okay, that concludes housekeeping while I die. Anthony, have you found it?
I have. Right.
Excellent.
So what I want you to do, I want you to interpret what you see. And based on what you see, I want you to tell me what this point of this video is supposed to be. So the video is from CrowXE, and I've had a bit of a back and forth with him. And I'll just play. It's not a long video. It's a short video. But let's say what you see. It's a game of catchphrase, right? And the video is entitled, The Earth Motion is Not Exciting in Real Time. So let's play what we see. So we're seeing like this animation that we've all seen before.
Bullshit.
Really good animation.
Bullshit.
Through in the universe.
Yeah, showing
CGI.
the relative orbits and movements of the
Cartoons.
apparently of the planets.
Now, any of them right so far?
Look, I'm gonna pause it here on this point because he says, "This is how the Earth looks. This is how the Earth looks. This is how the Earth looks like from." It doesn't even make sense that this is how the Earth looks from a 31,000 kilometer away stationary camera in relation to the galaxy. Right. So what he's trying to tell us is that there is a camera at 31,000 kilometers away that's pinpointed in space. Now, bear in mind that if the sun is orbiting in the galaxy and the Earth is orbiting the sun and spinning on its own axis, it's never going to cover the same path twice, ever. So this is how it's supposed to look from a 31,000 kilometer away camera, right? So bearing in mind that the Earth's never going to be in this position again, this means logically and practically that somebody's gone up in a spacecraft, planted this camera, got it set perfectly with the focus range perfect, and got this picture of this spinning testicle as it goes past the camera, and he's passing this off as what we're actually living on. And this is what he's trying to claim. So this is how the Earth is supposed to look from a 31,000 kilometer away stationary camera relative to the galaxy. Now, I mean, aside from the fact that he's showing it as a sphere, right, which is a bit of an issue, what do you, is this meant to be satirical? Is it meant to be real, genuine, or is it meant to be an animation to show the scale?
I mean, he would have to. Did he produce this?
Yeah.
So he would have had to have deliberately found some footage or some.
Hang on, the Earth isn't turning. The Earth isn't turning.
Yeah, he says it's only 1 pixel in 12 minutes, so he said there's not enough time. Which, you know, we'll give him that. But look at what the claim is on screen. He's claiming that this is
It's a nice cartoon.
It's difficult because he's got it grammatically incorrect, so it gives him a little bit of wriggle room. But he says this is how the Earth looks like. Depending on what he actually means by this, you can interpret that he's just made a mistake and therefore he's got wiggle room to get out of it. But this, to me, appears to be a representation of a camera at 31,000 kilometers away, and it's stationary relative to the galaxy, right? So to me, it sounds like he's trying to pass this off as real footage.
Well, I don't notice any of those stars. I can't place them.
I think that's the last of our concerns. Look at the picture of the Earth, Ranty.
My question is he trying to present this as a real like piece of footage, or is it a model? Is he trying to present it as a model?
If he is, he's a dingbat because it looks like it's come off a Sega Mega Drive.
Yeah, it's the best CGI ever, right? It's better than what NASA produced, right?
No,
But-
it's garbage.
But the fact that he uses this sentence, this is how the Earth look. This is what the Earth looks like from a 31,000 kilometer away stationary camera. Now the question is this meant to be real, or is it meant to be demonstrative? And I would say that the way he's worded this makes it sound like there is actually a camera 31,000 kilometers away, and this is what footage it recorded.
Really? Okay.
That's the way it reads.
Fair enough.
So, I had to ask him. I started off with, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. I was working on the assumption that it was actually a real piece of footage. I didn't realize it was meant to be a model. So I asked him a couple of questions, and I said, where is it? So I said, is this actually, is it a model or a real camera? Because he hasn't made it clear whether it's meant to be real or is it meant to be a scale model or what. And he said his answer was, oh no, it's just for fun. Like, no, not really, not for fun. It's lies. I mean, aside from the fact that there's a sphere in the Earth or a circle in the picture, he doesn't present this as though it's meant to be a scale model. He presents it as though it's actually a picture of the Earth in space from 31,000 kilometers away. And I think people are going to think that based on what you've put on screen. So the way I see this, I mean, I might be wrong. I mean, he's got wiggle room because of the way he's worded it, grammatically bad, and it isn't his first language. English is not his first language. It doesn't appear. But it makes the point that it seems to be a real world photograph or video of what we're supposed to live on. Yeah,
It's
it is
a
ridiculous.
It's
Hey,
a
Chocolate.
90s.
Yo,
It's a 90s computer animation.
Yeah,
It's a
but it's
drawing.
better than what
It's
NASA have produced.
ridiculous. You
good
can't
morning,
be serious.
guys.
Good morning,
Hey, Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Jockey Jock.
Okay,
Yo,
so
yo.
so who wants to go next? Ranty, I've got something I want to address about JLB, and you've got something that's
Sure.
far more important. So do you want to let the suspense
No,
build
no,
for
no.
yours, or do you want me to go after?
Fire away, fire away.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Okie dokie. So JLB is one of those people, a bit like Tim Osman, where he constantly moans about flat earthers and flat earth in general and how silly it is, while simultaneously saying, you know, nobody should be looking at it. And paraphrasing him, obviously these aren't quotes, but ultimately he's kind of talking about flat earth while saying flat earth is stupid, so he's kind of addicted to it in that way. Anyway, I've watched his video this morning that knocks some of the people who have criticised the higher side chats for chatting with JLB at all, which, perfectly honest, I agree with JLB on that score. You know, everyone's entitled to believe whatever the hell they choose. However, JLB, who I've got a lot of respect for and have learnt a huge amount of information from JLB, specifically in regards to logical fallacies. So my first introduction to how they were formulated into a debate was from JLB. I'll give him all credit for it. However, as is always the case, nobody's infallible, and John has fallen into a bit of a trap. He has used a presuppositional argument. So, the argument he has used is called affirming the consequent. So I'll give you a quick example, or the structure. If P, then Q. Q, therefore P. A simplified example would be, if I drink 10 beers, P, then I am full. Q. I am full, Q. Therefore, I just drank 10 beers. P. So, the logical fallacy being that one doesn't necessarily follow the other. You are affirming the consequent. So, the formal logical fallacy has been used by John Le Bon for the Southern Stars. So he didn't recognise that he kept using the word hemisphere, presupposing that he's on a sphere, when he presents the argument that if we are on a sphere, P, then we will see southern rotation on the southern hemisphere, Q. We see southern rotation in the southern hemisphere, because of course we already know we're on a sphere, right? This is proof of a sphere, but we already know. Therefore we're on a sphere. Classic formal logical fallacy. So John Le Bon, sorry buddy, but your proof that you're clutching to that we're on a sphere is a formal logical fallacy. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. The one doesn't necessarily follow the other. But you've got a presupposition of a sphere inserted in there, hence your use of the word hemisphere. So for all your japing and joking about Dearth or whoever proving it and saying that they would obfuscate the point, maybe you can answer me my question. Why would it be the case that when using a proof of a sphere that you would presuppose you're on a sphere? That's called begging the question, John. Surely you would understand this formal logical fallacy. That is all.
I do have one other thing that I want to present. It's the biggest hypocritical statement ever. And Ranty's just sent it to me now in the last 10 minutes, and it's absolutely glorious. What's the main reason, in your opinion, Nathan? Now, bear in mind that Nathan's opinion may not necessarily be the actual reason, but what's the main reason, as far as you're concerned, why Reds Rhetoric won't click the link and join the panel?
He's scared shitless.
Because...
Why is he scared
You
shitless? Because
button.
we will demolish his argument with one or two questions. So if Reds Rhetoric was to come in now, the first question I would ask would probably be the same as I asked to Conspiracy Cats. That's now, what, 2 weeks old? The saga continues, no answer, no explanation, thinks he can defy the second law of thermodynamics. Well, I'd ask Red the same question. So, Red, you think we're going to space, right? We're leaving Earth's atmosphere along with the gas? Yeah? Space rockets going out into space? So definitely an open system that we're in. Right, okay. So, how do we have gas pressure without a container? If we've got gas pressure, the necessary antecedent would be a container. So that makes no sense.
I'm going to have to drop and jump back in on Skype so that the sound passes through. So just answer the call and I'll rejoin on Skype, yeah?
No worries. So yes, that would be the first question that Reds Rhetoric got answered, and it would probably end there because he'd have no answer. He'd just have a logical fallacy.
I don't think that guy's ever gonna come in here.
Hello.
I don't think he's going to come back in now that we have this glorious little clip. So courtesy of Ranty, you spotted this one. I think this is it a Sly Sparkane hangout or is it a Reds Rhetoric one?
It was a Sly Sparkane one.
All right. So did it happen yesterday or today? It must have been last night.
Last night. Yeah.
Right. So Sly's channel last night, 20 odd minutes in. Listen to this glorious statement from Reds Rhetoric. The context is he's talking generally about debating with flat earthers. Now he's not talking specifically about Nathan, who he knows is going to kick his ass. He's talking about generally people that are quite new to the topic, haven't really found the feet, haven't really got all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, and he's looking for the easy ones, the easy targets. So it's not specifically Nathan, but it is flat Earth in general. Listen to this glorious nugget of information.
That way we can actually make this happen. My thing is that I want to have more debates with flat earthers just in general, not between myself and flat earthers, just have more debates in general, whether I'm participating in it or not. The reason is because they show how weak their position is in that type of setting, where where their feet are placed right next to fire and be like, hey, if you don't want to get pushed in, start giving me some evidence. Oh, you don't have any evidence? Yeah, this is the part where your flesh starts burning.
So in the context of burning flesh and being pushed into the fire, let's remind ourselves of the position that Reds finds himself in. Nath, do you want to remind people the position that Reds finds himself in right now with this very hypocritical statement?
In regards to him wanting to join debates?
Well, the evidence part of it, he cites that the reason why he wants to have more debates, or not he personally, but in general, the ballers should have more debates. Bear in mind, there's a debate show twice a day, guys. You can come in at any time. He's presenting now the idea that there should be more debates with flat earthers because, in his opinion, we don't have any evidence. Let's think about who the one that's making the assertions is, or are. Is it the flat earthers that are questioning your evidence for the model that you tell everybody's true? Or is it us that's telling people that we live on a flat plane and we can prove it? Which way round is it? Who's making the assertions and who's the one that's got the evidential burden and has no evidence for it? So let's remind Reds of his position. There's a link every single day, Reds. You're invited to join and you are expected at some point to have the conversation about the environment in which we live in. You're the one with the assertion and all the body of science that supports you. We're asking for the evidence that supports the position. And currently the one that's on the table is how we've got a gas pressure if we don't live inside a container. Entropy's a bit of a bitch. So who's the one with or without the evidence, and how are you going to get around this? Because it appears, in my opinion, that this is slightly hypocritical, and you're telling all your, or Sly's subs in this case, that we don't have any evidence, yet you're the one that won't join the panel that's there every single day, and you've been invited many, many times because you haven't got any evidence to support your position. Yet you're the one that's criticising us for not having evidence. Yeah, good job, dude. Good job.
Maybe I can ask Red a question. What's your scientific evidence for Earth radius? In fact, you can pick any of the questions we ask at the beginning of almost every single show, and Red won't have a decent answer for any of them. I absolutely guarantee it.
Well, let's just hear the key line again.
Where their feet are placed right next to fire and be like, hey, if you don't want to get pushed in, start giving me some evidence. Oh, you don't have any evidence?
Well, let's just play that little bit again there.
Start giving me some evidence. Oh, you didn't. Start giving me some evidence. Start giving me some evidence.
Yeah, who's the one with the evidential burden? Us or you? You're the one that claims that we live on a spinning testicle, and we're saying, can you prove it? And so far, the evidence that comes back from your guys, CGI, man. You have no evidence, guys. You can't prove any part of your real basic part of your model. Yeah, you can prove rockets this or laser spectrum analysis on that. Who cares? Show it's a sphere. Show it's got curve. Show it spins. Show there's a radius. Show any part of the housekeeping. Let's see the evidence, Reds. Come on.
Red's already given away his biggest tell. His biggest fear is R.
Yeah.
So, in R you trust Reds Rhetoric, you have no scientific evidence to back your assertion that you live on a spinning sphere. That's why you won't come in here, because you know you'll get ripped a new one very rapidly.
That actually.
Say again?
I actually thought it was quite funny when he said about toast being held to the fire and skin burning off. I mean, where have I heard that before?
Well, no, that's something that Reds has picked up from me. So basically, it's a backhanded compliment if you imitate somebody. So in order to entice Red to the debate, I blatantly stole Dumb Fuck of the Year. Same exact principle. You just backhanded compliment them, and then, you know, if you're an idiot, you fall for it hook, line and sinker like Red did. Now he's trying to use that against me. It's like, well, you can keep using my version of a backhanded compliment. That's fine. You know, one of the reasons I know some of his responses or his fears is because he comes in and chats as, I think it's Nathan is my bitch. Again, you know, I've called Reds Rhetoric my bitch. That backhanded compliment won't work on me, Red. You know, I'm still going to give you your two options. So I don't know if at some point, you know, we're going to have to concede that Reds has taken option 2, because his options are only twofold. After saying he wants debates, after specifically saying he wants to debate me, he's then got two options. Join the debate, face me, or piss off. So it seems like option 2 is what he's going to take.
Yep. Which then nicely brings us back to Conspiracy Cats, who's released the latest video aimed at Antonio and doesn't seem to be addressing the question that you've asked him, and doesn't seem to be doing anything other than trying to make it dead personal. Nathan doesn't like me. Nathan's attacking me. Nathan's this. Nathan's that. Who cares? Just answer the question. Same question to you as what Reds gets. How do we have a container? How do we have a pressure if we don't live in a container? Simple question.
No, how do you get gas pressure without a container? So it's specifically in reference to their model of their world that is spherical. And their model of their bullshit sphere world has gas pressure next to a vacuum with no barrier. It is an open system. By definition, if you can leave it, if gas can leave it, if matter can leave it, it's an open system. So they do have an open system, and they do have a vacuum, and we, all of us on this panel and everybody here, definitely has gas pressure. We're all breathing it. So out of those things, sphere, earth, gas pressure and vacuum, there's only one of them that I know is true. That would be gas pressure. The antecedent, the necessary requirement for gas pressure, is a container. So the question is simple. How do you, Reds Rhetoric, Conspiracy Cats, any other globehead who's got a delusion that they live on a sphere, how do you get gas pressure without a container? Your world has no container. It's open. So how do you get gas pressure without a container? That's my question to globehead zealots who think there's this area beyond the sky called outer space. A vacuum. A considerably lower pressure system. So if that's to be believed, then what do you know? The second law of thermodynamics has been falsified. Oh, what's that you say? You don't have any evidence of it? Yeah, get your toes in here, dickhead.
Someone's just put, what about all the evidence of the Big Bang?
What evidence of the Big Bang, moron?
God.
Now, let me just hypothesize. If we were expected to produce evidence of our model, which we're not, because we're not claiming anything, the obvious there would be a container on our model, wouldn't there, boys and girls? So we could have a gas pressure in ours, but where is it on the ball? There's actually two ways we could have a container on our so-called model. Think about what the second one might be.
What is funny is I keep looking forward for these shows when they debate model presentation, and I have never seen a show dedicated to Red specifically presenting his model, the heliocentric model he believes in. I want to see images, videos, and representations, anything, but it's never presented, just mathematically explained. That's all I see. I never seen it.
That's a very, very good point, Jose. Sorry, I'm gonna back that up and say, yes, I think you're right, Jose. I would like to see their model. Let's have a little look at it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Let's have a little look at your model so we can have a damn good laugh at it and call it pseudoscience. That's if you have one.
That was my whole argument after the Awake Souls debate, which Awake Souls was going to present a model, and they were gonna whatever check it out, and then I went behind it to a platform, and I was talking, just making fun. I said it was a draw. It was probably Awake Souls won because they presented a model. I saw it. They showed pictures, but in the other hand, Red didn't show shit. Didn't show nothing. They say, oh, it wasn't a model versus model. It was Awake Souls presenting the model, and then Red explaining how it was wrong and how he debunked it. I said, what the fuck is that? Sorry. It's model versus model. If I present you a model, you got to present me yours. They never presented, so they lost.
Sure, it's all nonsense. Models are pseudoscience. They don't prove anything. We have science for that.
But they don't have one particular model that they present, right? They just assume that we all know the Earth model, the ball model, so that's what we go with. But they don't have one, right? Because they don't like when we use Google Earth, right?
Yeah, they want a flatter model in one paper, in one picture, in one photograph, in one illustration. But they need 1,000 layers of papers with mathematical equations to explain their pseudoscience model.
Well, they need R. That's why we ask for it.
That's what it is.
Need R.
In our they trust.
Indeed, they do.
It's like they need some type of mathematical equation. They can't look at reality and call reality what it is. It's like you see one thing, but then you look at this piece of paper with this mathematical equation, and you're supposed to believe that. You're not supposed to believe what you see with your eyes.
Maths is reality, right?
Yeah. It's like they don't get you. You don't see a curvature, but somebody created a mathematical equation for you to figure it out. So you believe there's curvature because of that, but you don't actually see it with your eyes. And you just go with the equation because that somehow the math makes sense on paper. Okay, great. But that's not happening in real life. I don't know.
I've got a question for Branty.
What?
Can't you live stream, bro?
Can I? Yeah, I can. I did last night.
What happened with your hangout last night? I couldn't see it.
Eric.
I think Nathan said the same thing. He said it was whirling around or something, and you couldn't get into it.
I just got a black screen.
Yeah, I did have. Well, it was black.
No, it wasn't on display. I didn't get the dulcet tones of Ranty on the beach at Barrow Finesse.
Did you not? Right.
No.
Well, maybe it's a conspiracy. Could be. Because there were people in the chat and I was interacting with them.
I'm sure you did do the live stream. It just didn't end properly. So after you'd finished, it just continued to say live and people were going in going, oh no, has it ended? Because it was still running, but without anything happening.
That's weird because it's sorted itself out this morning and it says it's only a 33-minute live stream, which was essentially as soon as I knocked it off, that's where it ends. So it must have been something with YouTube perhaps.
So the key question, though, Ranty, really, joking aside, is did you get any evidence of a curved Earth?
Afraid not, mate. I did go to look.
You didn't see the 8 inches per mile squared that we're told that we live on?
No.
Whatever are you talking about? I know what it was. It must have been a bit of refraction, right?
Well, you see, that's the funny thing, you see. Every time I go and do an observation, the globe has always come back with, it must have been perfect weather conditions for refraction.
Yeah, at night time.
Every time, yeah, every time. Last year when I went, it wasn't good enough that we saw the big one, etc., the mirror ball. They were complaining that we didn't see the street lights or the illuminations on the actual promenade.
So how does the refraction claim work at night time? Because temperature is one of the key ingredients, right? How does that work at night time?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know.
Sorry, what do you mean temperature? Hold on. Sorry, no. What do you mean temperature is one of the key ingredients?
Well, they argue that the bending of light is caused by crazy atmospheric conditions, one of which is temperature, humidity, moisture, etc. But the main one is on their assertion, of course, is temperature causes like the rate of evaporation, which causes this, that, and the other. Well, if you remove that temperature by removing the light source, and then do the observation at night with something that's well lit up, then you're not going to be able to argue much refraction at all.
Sorry.
Bearing in mind that it is zero
I've got to
almost
interrupt
anyway.
you. Sorry. Do you want to just bring up the definition of terrestrial refraction and show me where that's factored into the 7.6R?
Let's just check Bryanovsky.
Hi.
Let's just check Bryanovsky. I don't recognise that one.
Hello. How you doing? Say hello. Hello. Brian.
And was no was. Was he one kicking everybody yesterday, or was it a suck of was no was?
Brian, speak up.
Mute him. Oh, there we go. Hello. Hello. Good to have you. Oh no, was it too late?
Hi guys.
Hello. Very good to have you. So Anthony, just to round this out, you find the definition of terrestrial refraction and show me where any of those things you've just described are factored into 7.6R.
Are you asking me to assert the position of ballers?
No, I'm saying in 7.6R, you tell me where temperature comes into 7.6R.
So for terrestrial refraction, yeah?
Yes. Bearing in mind that you took Mick West through his citations when he described to you where he got 7.6R terrestrial refraction from, and it had absolutely no correlation whatsoever. No association whatsoever.
Just done a quick search, and it says terrestrial refraction, the change in the apparent altitude of a distant point on or near the Earth's surface as the top of a mountain arising from the passage of light from it to the eye through atmospheric strata of varying density.
Yeah, 7.6R. Hello, Simon.
Simon? Oh, he's...
No, it's just a troll. Hi, Simon. So, yeah.
Well, one of the things that creates the density is the heat caused by the sun. That's what their position is.
That might be the case, but that doesn't alter what they apply. And that would be 7.6R. That's terrestrial refraction.
Sure, I get your point. So what you're saying is that they apply 7.6R as a geometric equation rather than the reality of life.
Right, they're not taking any measurements. They arbitrarily apply 7.6R.
Apply an arbitrary figure that's plucked from somebody's ass.
Right, so no, it's not based on any temperature gradients. Last Ruhif video, did you see him present any temperature gradients, or did you just arbitrarily apply 7.6R to it?
Arbitrarily applied 7.6R.
Right, so it's nothing to do with temperature then. Just everything to do with them arbitrarily asserting, number one, a presupposition of a radius, and number two, taking 7.6 of that radius to give them their refraction.
Yeah, if I was to paraphrase what Mick West says, he says something like, yeah, it's just a very general rule of thumb. It's not actually a precise science. It's just generally to cover some refraction.
Right. Otherwise known as an arbitrary...
In other words, flatten out the sphere because it doesn't match real-world observations.
Yeah, otherwise known as an arbitrarily applied 7.6 of a presupposed radius.
So that aside, can we see the footage?
Yes, Ranty.
Yes. Oh, you want to see some footage, right? Okay, just bear with me then.
Were you asleep then when you heard me ask that question?
No.
33, we're on.
Richard, hello.
Hey, Richard. Whoops.
Oh.
Joined and he left.
No, I dropped. Yeah, I'm kicking him.
Ready when you are, Ranty.
Right, okay, so last night I'd already planned for, how long would you say, Nathan? I would say at least 3 weeks I've been discussing.
Ian's safe.
Hold on, Ian, speak up, please.
Ian's safe, it's okay. I understand. I know who Ian is, he's fine.
Go ahead, Ranty.
Yeah, he's all right. Carry on, Ranty.
I've been planning this trip for about 3 weeks. Now, last year I did the same trip and I saw essentially the same thing, so I wasn't surprised by what I captured yesterday. However, to go from this little distance just across the water there, I had to go all the way around here, up, down, all around. It's 85 miles there and 85 miles back. So that was my route planner. And I've been talking about this for 3 weeks. So anybody that says I went specifically on a certain day to capture the correct weather conditions for refraction is talking out of the backside, because literally I just had planned this because it was the illumination switch on. And that's what I went to do. I went to see the illumination switch on, this time from Barrow, looking across towards Blackpool. I've got some of the footage. Let's have a look. So, let's see. Blackpool big one, right. Okay, so this is a part of the video that I did before I went live. Now, what I realised was there was an issue with signal on the beach, and I couldn't get a signal for love nor money, and but I could see this in the camera, and the sun had just set, and I thought, you know what, I need to start filming something. So I filmed this. This is the big one, and essentially what you're looking at here is all of the big one. I don't know if you can make it out, but obviously there's the big one, there's the big drop, there's the second hill, and there's where it reverses back on itself and goes back around itself. You've got the street lights down at the bottom here. You've actually got the street lights. The street lights again along the promenade. You can see them. This is before the illuminations were actually switched on.
This is great.
Ranty, just remind people how far away you are from here.
Right. Okay. So to the big one we're looking at now. Well, in a minute when it comes across. So to this big one here is 18.3 miles away.
Hold on. Can you pop yourself on mute? Is it Jamie? Who is it? I've forgotten his name now. Brian, can you pop yourself on mute, my friend?
Yes, I'll do it now. Okay.
Carry on, Ranty.
Yeah. Okay. So 18.3 miles away to the big one. Now, the big one, I believe, is 227 feet tall. I think it's perched on about, I think it's around about a 10 meter high above sea level. So essentially, in total, it's about 260 feet above sea level, which means we should only see the top 100 feet of it.
Hang on. Ranty, sorry. How far did you say this was?
18.3 miles.
Now, let's think about another prominent ball earther that makes claims are based on 18 miles. There's a bloke over in, what's it called? Pontchartrain. Some bloke, I can't remember his name now. Is it Fraudley?
Fraudley.
He does Fraudley. He does a Lake Pontchartrain video where at 18 miles, which just so happens to be the same distance that we're looking at, he claims it's bent like a basketball. So we would expect to get the same level of curvature. We should validate and verify Fraudley's work by this observation. Is that right, Ranty?
Well, we can compare it, and we can say that what he captures and when he captures it and the weather conditions he essentially goes to film in, I've cottoned onto him. I know exactly what he's doing. He's going at the right conditions to where refraction actually causes the light to curve. A bit like, is it Phuket word when he did the lowering of the camera onto the bridge and it curved around back on itself. And he's using the same tricks. It's just trickery. I know it very well. I've been on his case now for a year, so there's nothing new.
Yeah, Mr. Jose Gonzalez is going to be at day 11 on Pontchartrain taking some videos, so I'll present it, whatever I get.
Okay. Well, this is what I did.
They're all getting a pummeling, Ranty. It's not just soundly. But yeah, sorry, you carry on.
Sure, yeah, no worries. What happened towards the end of the night, we've got these lights that are going off down here. Obviously, here's Blackpool Tower. And we have these lights that are flashing here. And it took a while for me to realise what they were. And then I realised that the illumination switch on, they'd cordoned off the promenade. And in front of Blackpool Tower, on this like triangle place across the road near the promenade, near the sea wall, they had the illuminations switch on there. So they had the band playing. They had... who was it? Diversity with dancing and stuff like that. And this is what we were actually seeing. So in a minute, I'll realise this. And obviously, there's the big wheel. So there's the big wheel here. But you shouldn't see it. I mean, this shouldn't be seen. We should not be seeing the Ferris wheel on the promenade. That should not be visible.
So, Ranty, how big is the big wheel?
106 feet.
And none of it should be seen?
None of it should have been seen.
So why?
I think none of it should be seen. I think I'd be remiss in saying that. I think probably around about 8 feet of it should have been seen, perhaps.
Oh, no. 8 feet maybe if we presuppose we're on a sphere and ignore perspective and don't factor in any angular size, don't factor in any angle to the target, any of that stuff. So no, that's definitely not true. But if you were to beg the question, assume you're on a sphere and ignore perspective, then you could go to a curve calculator. But why would you need to do that? You've got the word curve in it, so they already know it's a sphere based on that calculation. It's not proving anything. It's a begging the question fallacy. But there are people out there that like to use those calculators to affirm the consequent, prove to themselves that they're on a sphere by begging the question. And if you were to do that, then those measurements, which are completely fallacious, they don't mean anything. They would say that there should be quite a lot of curve in the way. there isn't. It's flat as a pancake. But that would be what the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective omitting curve calculator might tell you if you choose to beg the question and use that calculation. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. Well, the lights you're looking at now is the actual the band, the entertainment, the switch on. This is it, the concert. You're actually looking at the concert now. All these flashing lights. This is where obviously the band's playing, diversity of dancing and all that. And this is on the promenade. This is on the sea wall at Blackpool in front of the tower.
Awesome.
And I'm looking across the Irish Sea at it.
That's so cool.
It was sensational.
Wouldn't you agree? That is so cool.
So, Ranty, it might be worth showing on Google Maps or Google Earth what it is that you're looking at with the flashing lights, because I know what you're referring to, but people that are not familiar won't. Do you want to show the bandstand in front of the tower?
Yep. So, well, I'll show you where I came from first. I'll show you where I parked up. Now, I intended to park in this car park here, but whoever it is, this wildlife trust or whatever, they have a gate on it down here, and they've locked it, so I couldn't drive up. So I had to park the car here. And then I trundled up with it was me and my partner. We had 2 seats, 2 deck chairs, the tripod, the camera, a measuring pole, torches, drinks.
Did you have a thermos?
No thermos, no.
Oh, right. So it wasn't a closed thermos then. It was an open thermos that you didn't have. Okay, no worries. Carry on.
Well, essentially, this is the route we took. We came over the sand dunes here and down onto the beach. Now, the tide was out. It was about where my cursor is now, no more than probably 30 meters away from where I was actually filming. Problem, I couldn't get right next to the water because they had it was just because it was just trenched full of water. I mean, I had to walk through puddles and puddles to get to this location anyway, but then there was like a 9-foot wide solid trench of water that I couldn't get any. I literally couldn't get any further towards the actual sea at that time. So I filmed from here, and we looked across, and I'll show you where that bandstand plays. I'll be outside
Hold on. Hold on. Go back. Just show the full expanse, Ranty. All zoomed out.
Sorry.
Because you just sort of skimmed over it. So there you go. That's perfect.
Okay. So yeah. So normally when I've been doing these footages before, and we've been seeing like Walney, I've been doing the observations from say here and looking at Walney there. So I'll just put that in the way so you can see it. The yellow line is what I would be filming the buildings of Barrow. I'll just get rid of that anyway for now. But I'll show you this bandstand. This is the important part. So here's the tower. And right in front of the tower, we have this square here, this bandstand. And this is where the band was playing, right here. So this is where they were switching the illuminations on. And what those lights that you were seeing, all those fancy lights, that was where the band was, and it's right on the promenade. The only problem is I can't, for whatever reason, it won't let me drag and drop anymore. It will get me down to there, but it doesn't show anything, which is a bit of a bummer. However, you can sort of see it. If I was outside the tower now, that would be the bandstand, and there's the sea. Right. That's what I was looking at.
Got to admit, guys, that's pretty low.
That's pretty low. The Ferris wheel is here.
And for the benefit of Cat Earth, that would actually be the beach in this example.
So there's the Ferris wheel that we saw. And we're actually seeing the illumination. So in the video and stuff, if I play it, you can actually see these other lights. There's the band. There's the band's flashing, all the lights flashing away over there. They're having a right good party over there. Now stuck on the beach, freezing my tits off. But obviously you can see all the lights. You see the street lights, the illuminations. It's just fantastic. Now, I think at this distance, there should have been over 100 feet of curvature, if you believe in the ball Earth model. 100 feet of curve.
What's the light? What's the light above the band? Is that the tower?
I think that was it. No. The tower's to the left. That was just this big, I don't know, it's just a big ball thing that they brought in like a crane thing.
Oh, okay.
Light up, to give some
like
sort of lighting.
Oh, by the way, Ranty, Tube Tinkerer, the troll in chat says, it doesn't prove anything, this Ranty.
No, it doesn't. You're right, it doesn't.
It
proves
does.
Nothing.
Proves
nothing.
Proves it's flat. We're just seeing this stuff because it's there, and there's no Earth curve obscuring our view. So no further explanation required for us as a flat earther. There's no need to start labelling this stuff as slightly looming non-standard refraction effects. This isn't an observed phenomena. He's just a very long way away from a band watching them. Simple.
Yeah. And let's remember, 18 miles or 20 miles or whatever it was is the same distance as Lake Pontchartrain, boys and girls. And guess how non-bendy it doesn't look? Or I guess how non-bendy it does look, rather.
So I've got whole loads of video that I can release on this, the Ferris wheel, etc. It's nice to apply a bit of contrast and stuff to it, so I can make it stand out even better. So I'll be working on those videos to bring out the, to enhance them, to see what exactly everything that we saw. But there's enough in this already to bust the Bull model that they believe in, this 7/6R rubbish.
So what was the value of the hidden on the nonsense calculator that proves nothing and doesn't consider the effects of perspective over distance? Was it 100 and something feet?
It was for the first video that I showed you. So on this one, let me get the curve calcs up in a minute.
It's about 100 feet, give or take. I mean, that's being conservative, right?
156,
it's not less than 100.
156 feet for this one. So when we're looking at the big one here, which is all of the big one, I might be able to get into position and show you this.
You can even see the streetlights.
Yeah, of course you can. The streetlights are down here. Let me show you on Google Earth. I can get into that. So if I can get along that line, I should be able to line up the line of sight for that. So where are we?
Shout out to Flat Earth New Zealand for the super chat. Thank you very much.
Ranty,
Okay.
did you account for the slightly looming non-standard refraction hyena on your observation?
I didn't know. No, I missed out for that. Oh,
damn.
Right, so here we go. Can you see there's the big one in the distance? It goes up. There's the light on the top, right? There would be the light on the top where my cursor is. It goes down, it comes up and it doubles back on itself. Can you see this little whirly part that doubles back on itself? And it goes down. And this post that's in the way is all lit up in the image. So this is the exact direct line of sight. And if I show you the image, there's the post that I'm looking through at the minute. There's the light at the top. It goes down, comes back up. There's a whirly bit as it doubles back on itself. Yeah.
So just for the benefit of the stupid people in chat, I think that this doesn't prove anything. None of this should be seen. None of the street lights, none of the low-level stuff. It should be all obstructed by a wall of water in the foreground called the bulge on your model. Why do we see it?
I mean, look at the street lights here.
The question isn't why do we see it. Hold on. Don't give him that wiggle room, Anthony. I'm sorry to interrupt you. The question isn't why do we see it. We just see it. And no further explanation is required because the Earth is obviously and observably flat. Now, if they want to come on the show and start telling me how what Ranty's seeing is an observed phenomena, then I'll call bullshit. No, just a concrete noun. No science required. We just see it because it's just there. Very long way away and just there. End of explanation. Not, it's actually being blocked by Earth curve and is actually being bent through lots and lots of different refractive layers of the atmosphere at 7/6 of a presupposed radius of the Earth that should be blocking it but isn't blocking it. This is a phenomena. No, we just see it. It's blatantly flat.
Oh, Magic Reality asks, what was the low tide height, or what was the tide height and the observed height, Ranty?
I was at low tide.
So how far off the water were you, Ranty?
I was about 6 feet. I would estimate. The tripod was set to 2 feet, and I was no more than 30 meters away from the actual water's edge. It was as close as I could get. You could hear in the videos. You can actually hear the sea churning away. So
we can safely say that you weren't 100 feet above water, right?
I certainly wasn't. No.
Which is the height you would need to be to compensate for the curvature that we're not seeing. Why can this be seen, boys and girls?
No curve.
Just look at the street lamps here, right? Just watch this. Just watch that whole peninsula, the bottom part. Forget the tower. Just in a minute, just watch. Just watch the ground. You can see all the lights. I'll get there in a second. There's the big wheel. Look at this. That whole peninsula is lit up.
It's amazing.
Ranty, they're saying that should they just take your word for the observer height? Well, don't you have GPS coordinates on your pictures?
Yeah, I do. Let's.
So the answer to your question is no. You don't have to take his word for it. He can prove where he was. You can guess whatever height you want. Who cares? You're not going to get 100 feet out of this. We'll give you 10.
Don't give him anything. It makes no
Right,
difference.
so-
What's he going to do with that 10 feet? Put it into a begging the question proof of nothing perspective omitting curve calculator? Yeah, very handy. You come on and do that. Hey, Chris.
Properties. So there's the properties of this one. You can take a screen grab of this. Where is it? So here we go. Latitude 54 2 33 041. Longitude 3 11 9 515. It says altitude 1. Now I don't know what that means.
Oh, that's a bit of a problem for you ballers, isn't it?
1.
That's a bit of a problem for you ballers. So you're not going to get 100 out of this, are you? Morons.
I gave you, like I say, I mean, I gave myself 6 feet, but essentially I was a long way out and I was right next to the water, essentially. I wasn't in it like I was last year because I couldn't get to it this time. But essentially I was close enough. And I did the live stream and you can hear it on the videos as well to see. So
you were in a 100-foot tall crane.
No, I didn't bring a pair of step ladders down there either.
Was it low tide, perhaps?
It was low tide, yeah.
Ah,
It
right.
was
So you thought, okay, I'm a little higher up, but the sea was just lower than regular.
No, it was a 2 meter tide. So it goes from essentially about a 1 meter tide up to about an 8.5 meter tide. That's the swing in my location. So it was when I went and filmed it, it just so happened that the illuminations were switched on at low tide and it was at 2 meters.
I just
So I had
point
to
out
walk
something
out.
that after about 11 months of the previous observation of the mirror ball and the roller coaster, it was indeed confirmed by several ballers. Do you want to name those ballers that confirmed your observation and the heights involved, Ranty?
Sean Hufford, Sly Sparkane, the two of them both agreed that from last year's footage from the same location but in just a different angle was indeed the mirror ball. I didn't stay late enough for all the atmosphere to calm down to actually focus in on the mirror ball. I went primarily to see the big wheel. And if you watched my live stream yesterday morning, you would have seen that was what I was going for, to see the big wheel. And I think we caught that. I think we showed that is exactly what we caught. I didn't expect to see the bandstand though. These lights here, this band that was playing here, I did not expect to capture that, but I did, and the evidence speaks for itself.
Well, you
band at this moment in time could only have been at most about 30 feet above sea level.
You do realize what Awake Souls is going to say, right?
I don't care what he says. Listen, I'm just a guy with a camera that's got the ambition to go out and do this kind of stuff. And 170 mile round trip yesterday to go and do this. Right, I think I had maybe 40 people watching a live stream, and I'm presenting it to you guys now. I'm doing this because I love it. Essentially, I love going out and proving this stuff. I've got nothing to gain from this. This is what was captured. P900.
And I thank you for that, Randy.
Fame
Yeah,
to gain.
I love it, man.
You got a lot of fame to gain, and it is amazing footage. So yeah, thank you for that, Ranty.
Yeah,
but
kudos.
yeah, Awake Souls will say that it is. Oh, it's just CGI. Look, I can do this.
Yeah, the thing was, I was filming it live, and I was showing it on my live stream whilst filming it. So not only was I filming it, I was actually showing it in the actual in the P900 viewfinder. So, I'd like to see how they're going to show that.
Worth shouting out your Patreons that have paid for this, because without their help to give you the money to get the fuel to get the job done, it just makes it easier to give you somewhat towards paying for the fuel.
That's right. That is right. I mean, I started a Patreon 2 weeks ago, and on the first day the first 2 days, I had 5 people that decided to be a Patreon for me, and I absolutely appreciate that. I've got a video up for them about this entire trip, and I appreciate it. I really do, because that money helped me to put fuel in the car to go and do this 180 mile round trip. Fuel doesn't just go in the car for nothing. I have to pay for that.
Yeah.
And them doing this, I greatly appreciate that. It helped massively.
fuel doesn't grow on trees. It comes from old dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like this, the Ranty put observations in the pretty much daily basis. The beautiful thing is the video is presented, and we look at it and we say, "Wow, there is the objects in the distance. There's the buildings. There's the lights. There's the towers and lighthouses." If a globe believer hang out, they do this, they'll be keying in all these equations and all this refraction and all these hyenas into their calculators, and then they throw a ball model and they start comparing and doing all this advanced shit. Why do we need all that? We just see the things because they are there, you know, period.
And with that, I'm going to say first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of the live audience for tuning in and hopefully sharing this debate. If you hated the show, probably because you're a globehead and you hate actual evidence of flat Earth, then you know exactly what to do. But if you like the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you've not done so already. I really would appreciate this one getting shared. Kudos to Ranty. I've been Nathan Oakley and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!